swinging. Derek Collins. Swinging. Derek Collins. Swinging. Derek Collins.
Nailed it. I already have my thing preset too. Look at me. I'm so good.
Catch 'em all, Pokemon.
Pokemon. Yeah, you can catch them in mine.
I was so pissed the other night when I was in there. It's like fucking, I didn't have the thing. I was trying to catch a Cresselia.
And well, you just didn't get it, and maybe you should just get gooder. You know what it was, Dyer? Your hat wasn't backwards.
Look at my fork.
I wasn't signed up for it. Like I tried to do it, and it was like, you need to do whatever first. I was like, fuck.
My fork has the shocker.
Wait, do it again? I didn't see.
He's showing it right now.
Oh, why can't it? Why can't I see you?
I don't know. I'm leaving it there until you see it.
I see it.
Oh, what a terrible fake laugh. It wasn't that funny to you, I guess.
Wow. 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 You know what?
For me?
No, for the fake laugh.
Oh, okay.
It wasn't fake. It was a chuckle.
Well, in that case, either way, either way, Dyer, you are still waiting. You are still awaiting the one thing you've not gotten yet.
I know. I haven't got the woo yet.
I've gotten one. Tyler's gotten one.
Fuck.
I got one.
Derek's gotten one. But Dyer, you ain't part of the woo crew yet.
You know what? I do have one technically, but Derek is withholding the woo.
You lost
because Michigan
well-
sucks.
Oh, yeah, that's not woo worthy.
What do you mean? Like, okay, you know, I feel like there's some hostility here.
Well, if we're giving away that means, okay, cool. You can give him one. Terps, you could give me one for saying Ohio State sucks. I know we both can agree on that.
Yeah. I'm not just giving away woos here. I have a listen, it's my job to guard the okay, and I am not easily bribed $25 in my Venmo. But other than that, I am not easily bribed, okay? So, you gotta fight me for it. Or give me a good reason to give it. Because
We'll get there.
Otherwise, Dyer, you're just and you're being run out of town.
You know what's going to happen is I'm not going to have a woo for a while, and then I'm going to go off for like 3 woos in
Three
one night.
woos in one night, and then you just be like, "Who's woo now, bitches?" And then Derek's gonna be like, take it away."
It's going to be
Take it
the
away.
woo hat trick.
Do you have Venmo?
Me?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Does it have any numbers like 19 in it?
Or I don't even know. I don't even know.
God, that sounded like somebody was dying.
I'll just do this. I'll just make life really easy.
Is that Dyer in the background making that sound?
There. There. I'll just make it really easy. It does have numbers, but not
Oh, I'm
19.
just wondering if it was the. Oh, okay. Oh, I bet it's. Okay.
Yeah, found it? There you go.
I thought I did.
It's all right, It's a very popular name. I have a very popular name. And you know what's annoying about my name? And I'll say this story and then I'll do an intro so, our editor doesn't get too mad at me. What's interesting about my name is that everyone has it, but doctors' offices never double check like crucial details to see if they've gotten the right person. Like, they've called me and started reading other people's charts. And I'm like, you don't verify that this is the Dave Sherman that like you should be talking to and not like, the old dude next door. Or my favorite part is when they're like, you're not 60. And I'm like, I know. Like a visual eye test here should tell you that you got the wrong guy. Or they'll ask you my birthday and I'll tell them my birthday. Right. And then after that, they'll be like, oh, well, you aren't the right person we're trying to talk to. And I'm just like, you asked me my birthday. I told you my birthday. That's the point where you should stop
Right?
and be like,
that doesn't match.
wow, this says October. This dude's birthday's in January. This is not the right person. Like, but no, they push forward every time. The other awkward thing about it is because, with my health history, I often see a lot, with my current health, I see a lot of new doctors, right? And I'm adopted. So I don't have any family medical history, like at all. I don't know what my birth mom had, my birth dad. There's no medical history whatsoever, right? So when you go to a new doctor, the first thing they ask you is, what's your medical history? Does your family have any history of blah, 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 blah. And there's like a check mark with like 17 things.
Yeah.
Have you ever once seen an does not have box or adopted box or unknown box?
Right.
That's
And
why
I'm
you
like,
should,
Applicable.
you should just check them all and be like, well, since you didn't give me
Maybe-
the option to say I don't know because I'm adopted, I just took them all so that way you could be like, well, fuck, this guy's got some issues.
Well, right? And here's the thing too. Adoption is not an unusual thing in the world. Like, there are hundreds of thousands of kids and adults who have been adopted, probably millions in the country who've been adopted, right? And so you would think that the health system would have caught up by now and put an adopted box or like a unknown box, because it's always an on conversation and they never give me the chance to first off say I'm adopted. They'd be like, has your family had any history of? I'm like, no, I don't. And before I can get the words I don't know out, they're on to the next thing. And they go through the whole list. So I've just gotten to the point where I just let them go. And they're like, wow, you have a really healthy family. And I let them say that. And then I go, no, I'm adopted. So I have no clue. And
Just
they
say
always,
maybe
and
forever.
and then they get really awkward about it. They go, oh, I had one nurse tell me, why didn't you say something? And I'm like, you were going down the list like you were reading off names at like a ticket counter. Like, I got no, like, there's no time. And you were DMVing me where you're just going, Derek, next, next.
Sound like
next.
the cop on
Yeah,
Home Alone.
exactly. You're just doing the come on, let's go. And I'm sitting there just like, come on. People these days. I can't with people. But but
He doesn't
Uh-oh.
even know why that's there. No, I hit the wrong button.
you did hit the wrong button.
Dyer doesn't even know why that woo just happened.
That said, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to, I believe we're on episode, I don't even know what fucking episode we're on anymore. I think we're going with episode 7. Yeah, welcome to episode 7 out with the Fairpool, season 3, with myself, Terp17, Mr. Van Dyermaker, and the PF Chang eater himself. Looks like you got some shrimp in there.
I did.
Is that
I
shrimp?
had that earlier. That was the
Okay.
first one.
And
I had the
anyway.
appetizer.
Oh, the appetizer first. The PF Chang's eater, glasses wearing, weighted vest walking, Derek Holland. Welcome.
Thank
Welcome to
you.
the program, everybody.
Pretty.
I hope that
impressive.
y'all-
Lots of Keurig tomorrow.
Oh, yeah?
Katie Carricks. This is going to be a 13 Carrick poop. That's from South Park.
God damn it, Tyler. Anyway, guys,
That's true.
welcome to the show. Welcome to the show. We got a lot to talk about. We had really big sports week happening now. A lot of other fun stuff to talk about. World Baseball Classic has started. Last night's game was electric if you sit up to watch it. Great game between the Netherlands and Cuba. And did you know, fun fact right off the rip, this is the first World Baseball Classic where Cuba has active Major League Baseball players on the roster. Which is kind of cool because they're allowing, it's always tough for people of Cuban heritage to play for the Cuban team, national team, especially when it's in the States, given current diplomatic situations. It's always been that way. So often the Cuban team's not had anybody on because they don't want to, MLB players don't want to risk having an issue with the Cuban government, and they just don't. But it's been done differently this year, so they have the options. There are 2 MLB players on the Cuban roster, which is kind of cool to see. But yeah, it's a lot of fun. World Baseball Classic, I highly recommend watching it. It gets electric if you haven't seen it on FS1 and on Fox. And it's great if you're a night owl like me because last night's game started at 11 p.m. And it was live baseball at 11 p.m. Eastern. It was great. It's phenomenal,
Dig.
right? There's a game at 10. Actually, Australia plays at 10 in the
Can
Tokyo
you
Dome.
dig it, sucker?
But if you're new to the broadcast or you haven't listened a bunch, you don't know what our is. Let's go over the rules of how this podcast works real quick.
You forgot one.
Basic. What?
Mm.
Oh, well. Oh, you mean that? Yeah. And then we have the. So
Well, that one's new,
Here-
but what happened to the other one?
which one? Which other one? We got
Come on. Nope.
that one.
Nope.
What one are we missing here?
Dyer, you know we're missing one, right?
The
Nope.
no
What are we missing?
Paola tape sound.
Nope. Nope. Nope.
I got all my sounds.
No, you. Ooh, that's a good one. That's a good one. I do like that. But no, you're missing.
Which one am I missing? I'm confused here.
There it
Purge?
is.
Purge sound?
Yeah.
Oh, there it is. Okay. So let's recap. Let's wind it back. Everyone here's really confused. We got a few sounds that we like to use on this show, and we're gonna recap on how those work. So first of all, you got the easy ones. You got the good job, and you got the. You get a lot of these on this show. You don't get a lot of these. I say it, we got good takes. Now, if your take really bombed, you get run out of town on a truck. And if your take's just so explosive, we don't want to hear about it.
Or you scored a goal.
Or you scored a goal. That's the devil's goal horn, though. I can let it play through. They'll tell you suck at the end of it if you want.
Nope.
Great. Now, we also have, of course, now the isn't given away just anybody. You have to make an extremely good point, have to floor somebody, or you can send $25 to Terp17 Venmo. Either way works. But the woo has only been given out a few times. We gave one to our editor for dealing with our shit
Mm-hmm.
day in and day out. I got one just because it's me. Derek got one, and the person who advocated the most for the Mr. Van Dyermaker has yet to get one. He's yet to get one.
That sucks. Does he get
It-
one
it-
this show?
Oh, you want to send over under at
Mhm.
half?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so here's the tough part. We are to talk a little bit of UFC because we had a really big UFC event.
All right, so,
So that's
one and a half.
1.5. That's a really good chance for him. But there's also a chance that Dyer makes a woo point, but his mic doesn't work.
That's true.
If that happens, he has to get the grenade at least.
Yeah, no, if that happens, it's just a bomb right out. But I don't know. I'm gonna take the under at 1.5. I'm gonna take the under at 1.5.
Dyer, how you feeling today?
Feel tired.
Never mind. Turp, you win. That was not the answer I was looking for. I was hoping he's like, man, I feel good today. You know, it's been a great day. Nope, fuck. Dyer just straight dropped the grenade right away for me. Thanks a lot.
Right.
Terps,
Here's
just
the-
because we have to have somebody go different, I'll be the one and I'll say he's going to get the over. But unfortunately, after his response, I was 100% with you then.
He's get the under. Here's the thing with the woo though. If you get the, it can be taken away.
Correct.
It can be taken away. And if one of slips by, that's why I have an editor. And the editor can always come in late and say, put it in the group chat and be like, I don't know about that woo.
But if you get the woo and the show's over, you can't go back and take that one away.
No, but we can for future use.
Well, I'm saying like the only way it would happen is because of Gnome is the only way
Correct.
that you could lose it. But after that, no. Like we start the next
Correct.
show, then
Once
no,
the
you
show's
can't-
up, you're good. Yeah,
okay.
you're safe. You're safe. Yeah. But if we give a woo out and he's like, Terps, that's just no, gone, and makes a good argument as to why it's gone, it's gone. It's
Who
gone. So,
died?
It
who
has to
died
be
and
in
made-
front of everybody though.
exactly.
Who died and made Gnome Ric Flair?
Nobody.
Nobody.
Hey, you better watch yourself because he's in charge. So if you say something and you get a woo, he can easily just be like, yeah, I don't like that because Dyer's just being an asshole about me. Being
Yeah, and
the Ric Flair.
just take it away. We're gonna get to the end tallies and be like, Terps, 15 woos. Derek, 15 woos. Dyer, -4. Or it's gonna
Start
be like,
calling him Eric Bischoff if he does that.
you know what it is? It's just the Nebraska in him. He just anti everything else Midwest. That's what it is. Too many beat downs by you two. He's sick of it. He's tired of it. Absolutely tired of it. But yeah, we're gonna have fun today. We got lots of stuff to talk about as Derek is just housing some PF Chang's, which I'm innately jealous of.
Done.
PF Chang's is amazing. Well, now he's done with PF Chang's. But let's get right into it. I posted something in topics that I want to get started with just because I think it's hilarious. And it's right above the picture I put in there before. It has to do with Reese's. So Reese's, of course, makes Reese's peanut butter cups. And what they're doing here is actually awesome. It's actually awesome what they're doing. The marketing for it, though, it's a little off. So Reese's, or Reese's, however you want to say it, is releasing, wait for it, plant-based peanut butter cups for when you don't want meat in your peanut butter cup.
Meat?
He's thinking about it. Now the wheels are
I know,
turning.
that's why I was like, what?
But no, they are releasing plant-based candy.
I'm out.
And here's why they're doing it. It actually makes sense why they're doing it.
It's,
What they should have said is dairy-free.
yeah.
I'd say they're getting rid of the milk chocolate.
They're
Just
getting
make it
rid-
dark chocolate.
Correct. They're putting in almond milk and they're making it dairy-free for people who cannot have dairy or people who can't mix dairy products with other things. So it's for a good reason. That said, I just feel like plant-based is not the word to go with there. Because last I checked, peanuts are plant-based, and isn't that the main ingredient in a Reese's other than sugar, which is also plant-based? Am I wrong there? Am I missing
And
something?
chocolate, which is
Chocolate,
also plant-based.
Plant-based.
If you don't have, if
Milk
you don't
in
add
it.
the milk to it, yeah.
Yeah. Like it makes sense. It makes sense to have non-dairy milk chocolate for those who cannot have dairy. That makes sense, right? It's just the marketing is just it's not right. It's just like like it does not make like they could have done. I guess, is dairy free like a bad connotation now? Is there like a negative vibe to dairy free?
I don't know, but is there even enough milk in milk chocolate for that to be a problem for people that
If
have?
you're allergic, probably like if you're deathly allergic to milk chocolate or to milk or to dairy, yeah.
Well, don't eat it.
Right, but we're not talking about somebody that's like lactose intolerant or something like. We're
Right.
talking about an allergy.
I
That makes more
agree.
sense. Yeah.
But like, again, I agree. I think it's a good product to have. I just think the marketing is just so off base here. Because do you think plant based is just in right now? Is that what it is? Like they're just naming things plant based because that's what people want to hear, as opposed to just saying dairy free. Because dairy free has been around forever. That's not new.
Yeah, I thought it was a joke when I first heard it until I thought I really had to think about it to think of the milk that's in the chocolate. It's like, man, that's a stretch. We're really splitting hairs here if we're talking about that being the only piece that they're getting rid of.
Do you
Like,
think
one-
they're going to succeed?
Yeah, I think this is gonna be a big market actually, especially like especially like kosher communities. This will allow them to have like milk chocolate with certain things, because you can't mix like meat and dairy products when you eat.
Mm.
People who are lactose intolerant, people who like to bake with it. It's that makes sense as well. I think the market's there for it because there's enough people now who either A, are moving away from dairy, or B, can't have dairy. It makes sense. I just think, what's wrong with dairy free, which is the term we've been using for ever?
I want to know if they have
Maybe
a
it's a
dark
f-
chocolate variety.
Maybe it's
They do.
offensive.
Do they? I've seen the
Yeah.
white chocolate. I've never seen dark chocolate Reese's.
And here's the funny thing. So like, this is why I think it's just stupid marketing. Almond milk and coconut milk have been used as dairy replacements in chocolate forever, and coconut has been used with chocolate. Coconut milk's been used in chocolate as like a sweetener forever and ever and ever and ever and ever, and you've never called it plant based. It's just chocolate made with coconut.
Yeah, we all know what a great combination coconut and
Oh,
chocolate
God,
is.
yeah, here we go.
Fucking almond joy. It's a fantastic combination.
No,
I don't even need to say anything. I already know. It's just a waste of my time because it's an absolute garbage candy.
No. It's the last I'm going to say about it. Continue with the Reese's.
But all I'm saying is just I just feel like this where marketing's getting a little bit out of control because it's dairy free. Just call it dairy free, and everyone's happy.
Yeah, I don't understand why they wouldn't just put that. I think it's just they're trying to get the lingo to where
That's
maybe
what I
a
think
vingo,
so too.
a
vingo?
vegan's gonna see it and be like, oh, okay, cool, I can get this, like that kind of thing. That's it. That's all I get from that. Because, I mean, right when I saw plant-based, as you saw, my wheels were turning. Like, what the fuck? Wait a minute.
Yeah.
I have no interest in it. But a person who is vegan or whatnot sees that, oh, cool, I can have these now. That kind of thing. So, I mean, that would be the big thing. I'm more excited about your next picture that was right below it. So that's what I'm very excited about that.
Okay. So I have a question for everyone. I'm sure everyone here has refrigerators, right? Everyone's got refrigerators at home. When you open your
An
refrigerator,
icebox.
oh, you know what, Dyer? I'm sorry that you live in the 1800s. Okay.
Wait, do you
fucking
guys really have an
Ohioans.
ice box?
No.
I
He's
was gonna
like,
say, that's cool.
he's like,
as
wait a
shit.
minute.
Dyer's
What do
going
you-
back in time instead of everybody else going forward. Dyer said, "Nah, I'm gonna go backwards."
Why do you think he
We were
moved to
talking
Bumble?
about the-
Why do you think he
talking
moved to
about the end
Bumblefuck,
of days,
Ohio?
I had to get
Whoa.
an icebox in case the grid shuts down.
True. And first off, it's not bumfuck Ohio. He's still in a good area of Ohio that's not too. He's in a decent city. He's in
Yeah.
a good place. You're just not familiar with our neck of the woods.
Is your neck of the woods frequented by ice boxes?
Well, I didn't know about it because I didn't have one when I lived there. So this is new to me. Dyer's just changing things up. I guess.
Starting a new trend.
I mean, I like it. I have I have two fridges, refrigerators. I guess I'll just say that. Fridges
But anyway,
sounds weird. I have two fridges.
Frigi?
I think I just have refrigerators. But I have it so that I can put I have it the freezer too, so I can put my meat in it.
But so anyway, you go to your fridge, you open the door, right? I'm assuming that everyone's fridge opens the same way, whether it's a fancy fridge or an ice box. And you got the place where you put your butter, right? Now, where do you, Derek, put your butter in your fridge?
Same place that's in this picture.
Okay.
It's up top, but it's not. That thing is like, that is the penthouse of all butter holders.
Yours?
No, that one.
Oh,
mine's
this
not
one?
Like mine's like smaller than that. It's like looking at it, I'd say it's smaller and it's smaller and longer.
So here's my question, okay? Right. So those people who have, who have what's called a butter well, it's that part of the fridge that has like it's like a ledge you put your butter on, and sometimes it has like a plastic thing that folds over it or whatever, like a see-through plastic thing. So here is where this is hilarious to me. I saw this post. I'm like, yes, someone here is proposing that we call the area where you put your butter in your fridge with the piece of plastic that closes over the top of it, the butter penthouse. I'm on board with this. Right? Penthouse for the butter. I feel like that's right. So like, the part next to the butter where you put the eggs in that's kind of open? Is that the egg courtyard?
The part to the right?
Yeah, the egg balcony.
No, that's like I think that's kind of like your smaller sauces and stuff, or maybe
Some of them are eggs.
Your little jar. Well, see, I don't put no, because eggs would just roll around in there. You don't want them rolling around.
That's true.
They make those that have the little
The little
wells,
egg
though,
holders, yeah.
Yeah, but
And that's a clip right there.
yeah. I don't see. I mean, from what I can tell in that, it doesn't have that.
Now, see, this looks like one of them old school fridges that everybody had back in like the 90s. That's like about 4.5 feet tall and has the flat white fridge up top and the flat right fridge on the bottom.
Yeah, my
You know
fridge.
what I'm talking about?
Yeah. No, I'm just thinking about what my fridge is. Like I'm because it's weird. I was just in it 2 seconds ago grabbing the drink. So I'm trying to think of what's up. I think I have two glass or whatever plastic things.
Well, okay. First off, Derek, we should clarify that you don't have a normal refrigerator.
I do.
Well, it's normal in the sense of like you put your stuff in it.
Yeah, but I just
You got one of them nice refrigerators.
I got two refrigerators though.
Well, the other ones are more like this.
Yes,
like this one.
You're right. The first one
Yeah.
is more of a custom. It matches with the house kind of thing. One of those
Correct.
zero whatever
Sub-Zero.
Sub-Zero things. But
The
still
other one
looking
is
at
more of like well, it's the inside's still the same.
Yeah, the
It's like
insides
this
are the
is-
same, but I don't have.
This is a Toyota. The one in the picture is a Toyota Corolla, and yours is a Mercedes.
Yeah, I get it.
Listen,
No,
there's nothing wrong.
I know, but
With either.
I'm not trying to be like that. But
I'm not saying that. I'm just
No,
saying
I
that.
know- I know you're
wouldn't,
not.
Wouldn't that make yours more of a penthouse?
But it doesn't look like that though. Like mine's not that spacious. I mean, if I took one stick of butter and put it in
That's
like
also
that,
a tiny stick of butter. That's not even a half stick.
so I
Would you
mean,
say
I could
then
make
yours
that
is a butter boutique.
Butter
a butter boutique. It's a butter bed and breakfast. Okay, yeah, I guess I do have the penthouse for my butter.
And there's nothing wrong with that.
No, I
Nothing wrong
know
with the
that.
butter.
I'm just trying to think that it's like looking at it. I'm more concerned with what's next to it, and it makes me think like, what is up there in mine? What do I have sitting up there?
You know what we need to do then? One episode, not this episode, but one episode. We have to go out, okay? And we have to have our viewers send us a picture of the refrigerator. We gotta do fridge ratings. The inside, like I want like your refrigerator.
I'll
open.
get mine here. I'll get one right now. I'll have mine right now. I'll have Siegel take a picture of the fridge and send it to me.
Well, you got like the athlete fridge. Which is funny. You got like the quintessential athlete fridge.
I just wrote athlete as who I was trying to text instead of Siegel. Damn it.
Do you have anyone named athlete in your
No. Give me 1 second.
Siegel's gonna have to come down from out of the penthouse to take a picture.
Take a picture of that.
No,
Yeah.
he's actually downstairs. He was sitting with the dogs. Okay, so you want me to see athlete in my phone?
You have anyone just named athlete?
No, but I have so I give titles to everybody, like underneath, whatever your name is or whatever, and there's a bunch of athletes under mine.
Well, that makes sense.
So I have quite a few athletes. So I can't. I guess that's.
Do you break it down after athlete, like rock thrower,
No, it would be like
handballs,
I
hand
would-
egg
I would
swinger,
say it's
shooty hoopster?
I would say, oh, there it is. Okay, so my picture. Oh wow, you guys are gonna just love this. So let me send this to my email. I think I'm gonna win. You guys
Well, of course you're gonna win.
I'm gonna give you guys the advantage because you're gonna see how my fridge is, and then you guys are gonna try to top that, like organize.
Oh, I'm not. Listen, I'm not winning this.
because this
but-
is
Head does your fridge though, doesn't he?
no. I mean, it's both of us because I'm the one that he gets the drinks and he'll put them in there for me when I'm not here or whatever. But I'm the one that does a lot of the other stuff because I'm the one that's usually in there. Head's got his own fridge upstairs that he just puts Pepsi in. No, I'm gonna put this in the Twitch chat. You guys are gonna see what my fridge looks like. Don't worry. I had to just send it to my email so I could get to it. But yeah.
You can also just put it in the Discord.
But I see. Well, I should have put it there. That's my fault. Yeah, that's the other thing too is I think Dyer's gonna have a pretty organized fridge too, just because he's got a wife and he's got kids, so he's gonna have things put together pretty well. I feel like.
Where'd you send it? Where'd you put it?
I'm getting ready to put it in the. It's opening right.
Do fridge ratings. This is just. I'll be showing it on my stream if you guys want to see it. And Derek might be able to pull it too, but I will be bringing it up on my stream for people to see. The fridge ratings.
Yes. This will
I just want you to know that I feel like Dyer's gonna be really harsh about this.
Yeah, but I don't think he will.
Dyer
Is
rebuttal.
Do
Not
you?
your fridge?
Yeah. Do you think?
No, just about fridge layouts in general.
Not really, man. Quite honestly, I'll let you guys be the judge. But you guys are way off base when it comes to my fridge.
Well, no, I'm
Well,
talking about when you judge other people's fridges.
Yeah, that's not. We're not saying. We're not. Yeah, we're not saying that you're.
I'm not a harsh fridge judge.
Oh, there we go. Okay. By the way, Derek, you just advanced to level 3. Very, very nice.
Yeah, I saw that. So there's my fridge. That's how it looks right now. So clicking that. I'm just looking at stuff that's in there. I love those ice waters, different types
All
of
right.
waters.
First of all, time out here. Chats, both chats. Tell me that this is not the quintessential MTV Cribs fridge right here. You open the door, right? They open the door and they're just like, I got my waters. I got the drinks that gotta stay supplied. I got the more drinks. I got the random jar of pickles that everyone has. Everyone has a random jar of pickles.
Well, pickles are good though. Like they help with hydration.
That's what I'm saying. I agree. Picklebacks are also amazing.
Oh, I do
You know-
see where I just advanced to level 3.
You did it, just advanced to level 3. You got the fancy, it's a quintessential athlete fridge, and I'm here for it.
I see
You-
Richie's lunch meat in there.
Yes, it is actually in there. It is. That. So for those that don't know, my dad comes to the house and usually eats either I'm going to get Firehouse subs or Potbelly, or he'll make a sandwich. And I usually have lunch meat because sometimes I just come back and I just want to eat some lunch meat and then go from there. So yeah, that's my dad's lunch meat in there. He wants a variety of meat in there. The coconut water is for me in the morning when I make my shakes because I don't like to eat a lot of food before I go train. So Vita Coco is part of it with all that fruit that's down below.
I don't know about storing the pickles next to the cottage cheese though.
I'm
That
not
just might
worried
be a
about that.
convenience thing.
Yeah, it's just there. It fits.
Clearly we see the two most popular drinks in your fridge are your body armor and your waters.
Yeah, because I probably drink 3 of those at least minimum a day, the Body Armors. One goes into my shaker for my creatine and stuff. And then the other one is after I get done working out, like right away or during the workout once I've already drank my creatine. And then the last one is my drive home. And then the drinks, people were asking, what's the drink underneath the LaCroix? That's my sleep juice. It's cherry juice, actually, which helps with inflammation and puts me right to sleep.
Little Betty Bye action there. You got the salsa down there with the fruits, the fruit cups, the
I
pre-sliced
love-
fruit cups.
Love that. That's huge for me. The fruit, that will only last 2 days.
Oh yeah.
Monday, Tuesday, and then it's pretty much gone.
Your fruit
There it
should
is.
only last 2 days. If your fruit's in your fridge longer than 2 days, it just gets kind of eh.
That's false. It should be able to last close to 5 days.
It should be, but it depends on the quality of fruit which they picked and also when it was packaged originally.
Yes. Yeah, that's true
true.
too.
So you know,
But yeah,
my
I mean, we focus on it. I focus on everything that's in there.
my chat says no Monster Sag. You're not an energy drink guy. You never have been,
No, it's way too much sugar.
and everything else.
Sugar free.
It's not. It doesn't.
You-
it's not for me.
Get that aspartame.
Just go make a pot of coffee. I love coffee. I'd rather drink that. If I'm not drinking my creatine, I'm drinking coffee.
I like coffee.
I love coffee.
Coffee's great.
Bearded Vet coffee is something you guys should look into. Really good coffee.
I need see here's the problem, okay? I like coffee. I don't like coffee enough to make coffee.
Wait, say that again?
I like coffee, but I don't like coffee enough to make coffee. If I'm
Yeah.
somewhere that has coffee, I will drink the coffee. But when I wake up, I'm not making coffee. Does that make sense?
100%.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
I get it. But man, there's nothing like the smell of fresh brewed coffee.
See, here's the thing, okay? I have the giant Nestle factory about a mile down the road from me. And they make their coffee there.
Yeah, I can't compete with that.
So I don't even have to drink the coffee. I just open my window and it just smells like coffee.
That's true.
It's great. It's also terrible, but it's also great.
You know
Well,
what the worst thing is, though?
Hmm.
You stay at somebody's place and have to figure out how to use their coffee maker.
Yes. And not only and it's always a friend who has like one of them weird like cappuccino machines. And you're sitting there trying to figure out like, okay, so if I pull this handle and I do and then your buddy will come downstairs and be like, "Bro, I'll help you out. No worries." He goes, "You do this. He does it in like 30 seconds. You're sitting there going, "All right, wind that back for me. Run it back. We're doing it. We're okay. What are we doing? And have you ever heard of a Keurig? Or just a regular percolator?"
Wait, so now I'm getting criticized for having the baking soda in the back. Or wait, maybe that's not towards that. Because there's 2 comments, but I can't tell if they were meant to be right together. I don't drink energy drinks like Red Bull, Monster, etc. Stuff is so unhealthy. So maybe that's what that's referring to.
Yeah.
Because the
I'm
baking
assuming-
soda, my parents just always, I was brought up that way. You always put that in
Ours
there,
is-
keeps it.
Ours is we have ours up and
Do you have one of the round ones that you can like stick it up to it? Because there was 2 different ones. Like there's the powder, like I have that you.
we have
lift
the
back-
powder, yeah.
Okay, and then the other one's
Yeah.
like it's like it looks like it's a smoke detector.
Oh, the
You
tin.
just stick it
Yeah,
up.
well, there's
against it.
that, and there's also a tin. There's a tin one.
Oh, I haven't seen the tin one.
The tin ones are nice because like they have a little scoop on the inside, like a metal scoop on the inside, so you can fit in like a measuring spoon, and then you scrape it off as you go up. so no extra comes out. It's really cool. What do y'all think about like the Starbucks coffee in the glass bottles? Great, overpriced.
Wait, what is it? Starbucks? What?
The
The glass. Yeah. I'm with you on that. I agree.
Like,
Like
if
the
I,
Frappuccino?
yeah, like the pre-made ones in the glass bottle,
Oh, yeah, way overpriced.
like phenomenal. I'm just not paying $8 for it.
Right.
Starbucks is overpriced in general. Little pro tip here. If you want to save money, don't get Dunkin' and Starbucks every morning.
Mhm.
Make your own at home.
Mhm.
Buy a Keurig and the K-Cups, which are still overpriced compared to regular coffee, and you will still save a ton of money not getting Starbucks and Dunkin' Donuts every day.
Or even better, when I dropped I was getting ready to hit so I got a CBD pen. I'm in love with this thing now. But
You should drive a Subaru next.
I will. I'll get a Subaru.
Subaru.
You can't pronounce your Aussie tubes.
Make sure you talk in the microphone.
You guys are getting to be reckless on this Discord chat. Earlier, I went for a walk and I was right next to the railroad tracks. And man, there was multiple trains that came by. Oh, it scaled me.
Did they get derailed?
No, nobody was derailed. You said derailed.
They
Thank
were
you.
carrying hazardous materials.
Hazardous materials? Oh God!
Now he's got a lisp.
You gonna go do the you're gonna do the Gwitty now?
The Gwitty. I was gonna go try out for the Harlem Globetrotters.
Listen, I can't. I gotta do something unprecedented here. Okay. I have to give Nate for the Gwitty comment. That was him. I just stole it.
Is he in your comment or your chat?
He's in my chat. Yeah. But I
Hey,
have to give him. I have to. It's fair.
No, that's fine. Do you use Streamlabs, right?
I use OBS. I stopped using
okay.
Streamlabs.
Because Streamlabs, I have this thing that says multi-stream, so I'm wondering if it's like I can pull your stream up and my stream.
I'll have to look into that.
I don't want to
I'll look
mess
into
with anything, so I don't know.
Not right now. Before we move on to the World Baseball, I do the World Baseball Classic question. We're going to talk about that a little bit later, so hang around. Just because right now I do know some of the people who are in stream right now are big MMA fans, so I want to talk about the most recent fights first. Just because those people who do want to listen to it, I know we're catering a little bit. They're across the pond, so it's currently 3-4 o'clock in the morning over there. Besides, I want to talk about MMA because the fights were awesome.
Yes, they definitely were.
If you
Very
didn't
pleased.
watch the fights, you're missing out. They were all great. They were all phenomenal. ESPN stopped raising the fucking price. It's $80 now. What the hell? Didn't it used to be $69.99 for like the longest time?
It might have even been less than that at some point.
Yeah, like it was like stupid expensive now. But right off the rip, I do have to say something, okay? One of my buddies may have cost me a little bit of money. Because they talked me out of a stupid bet that wasn't so stupid in hindsight.
Okay, so it wasn't one of us.
No. Listen, Grasso was kicking ass, okay? And at the time, you could still bet on her to win the fight, and it was like plus 1,600, okay? And I was like, what if I just put like $20, $30 on that? That's a good plus 1,600, right? And they were a good friend, and they said, that's a stupid bet. Shevchenko's going to come back, kick her ass.
Bonus points if you had Grasso to win by submission. Nobody
Right?
fucking had that.
No, first of all the fights were wild. All
Yeah.
of them were wild.
Yeah.
They were all crazy.
It was a blue moon type of night.
It was.
There was one fight that was a little boring, but it wasn't bad. It wasn't bad. And Dyer, we'll let you take the floor first on this. Talk a little bit about it because this is your wheelhouse. We're just big fans. You're a little bit more analytical about it, understand it a little bit more. But what's your initial reaction to the fights, and who surprised you the most, and why was it Alexa Grasso?
Obviously, Alexa Grasso. I mean, she fought really the perfect fight because not only, first of all, she comes out in southpaw. They talked about that on the show. Obviously, that confused Valentina and caused a lot of problems for her. But I think the bigger thing with that fight was when Valentina got her on the mat, inside control. Normally, she ends the fight right there. And Grasso, when she was kind of scrambling and doing like the thing where she's up, bridging and spinning around, and Shevchenko's moving with her, and they're just going around in a circle. I've never seen them maintain that kind of a scramble and then able to escape and get back up on the feet. That was pretty incredible, that whole sequence. And then the way that she caught that spinning back kick and jumped on her back and took her down, that was such a smooth, it was so smooth the way that she did that. I didn't think that she had that kind of grappling. So wildly impressive. That was a lot of fun. Also, worthy of note, Valentina was up on the scorecards when that fight was finished. So, big kudos to Grasso for keeping it close, and jumping on that opportunity when she got it. I do think that, not to rain on her parade at all, but I do think that Valentina makes the changes that she needs to make if she gets an immediate rematch and wins that. But that was awesome. Also, Shavkat Rachmanov and Jeff Neal was an incredible fight.
Yes.
I really wish
Insane.
I really wish that Jeff Neal didn't miss weight because he missed out on a bonus because of it. And I don't think
First
that
time
I've
ever.
ever I don't think that I've ever seen a standing rear naked choke.
We
That was-
in our group chat, we were all like, "What?"
Yeah, I was blown away.
somebody called it the bouncer choke.
We also got don't forget, Dyer, 2 new Joe Rogan gifts. We got the new celebration for when Grasso won, because they all about fell out of their chairs. So we got another Joe Rogan one of these. It's
Right.
great. And we also got another Joe Rogan hat gift,
The fox hat.
the Fox hat.
You know what else I do want to say too about the fight that was crazy, and I love Joe Rogan speaking out on this too, is when I don't know exactly which fights because it happened multiple times.
Twice.
Yeah, twice. Somebody was down on the ground and they were doing their job. That's part of this fight, is if you're on the ground, like, that's how it is. They were dominating that way and they let them get back up on their feet. I can't remember if it affect, because I'm not as, I mean, I'm invested in this, but not as much as Dyer is, but I don't remember if it really affected the outcome, but it was still to the point to where Joe was very disappointed in letting that happen, because it's like, maybe this person that was getting back up on their feet, that was on the ground, is now able to get back to what his strength was, versus he was in his weakness. He was losing. That's his own fault.
Well,
So
the idea.
No, you're good. I did like that Joe Rogan did speak out about that, because I agree. I think if I get it, it is boring and it sucks to watch, but that's part of the fight. That's the way it goes. So that was one thing that got me there was, man, they let them back up on their feet multiple times, 2 times, 2 different fights.
Well, Sorry, the idea of the stand up, correct me if I'm wrong, and you'll probably know more about this than I will, was for those DC style fights, except where they weren't, being DC about it and being technical, rather they were just kind of laying on them. That was the original intention of the stand up, correct?
Yeah, it's supposed to be when there's a stall in the action, and not necessarily even just that, but where it's kind of obvious that neither fighter is really working towards anything. They're just trying to hold it down and either collect a bunch of ground control time if you're on top, or if you're on the bottom, you're just kind of hanging on for dear life to draw that. But yeah, it's supposed to be when nobody's working towards anything and just nothing's happening.
So that happened twice. Both times did have some pretty serious consequences on the fight, I thought, as to the direction the fight went afterwards.
For what fight it was in, I want to say it was in the Mateusz Gamrot fight, but I can't remember.
And
off the top of my
in
head.
the didn't happen in the Grasso fight too?
It may have.
I thought because it was 2 fights, they stood them up and on the main card.
One of them, it was egregious. Like, it was the worst stand up I've ever seen. They were working on the mat, and dude was in the middle of punching him, and he stood him up. It was the most ridiculous thing I've ever seen.
That was the one that I know Joe was really angry about, because then it happened again, and they were like, "Hello." But I think the question we have to ask.
Jason Herzog was the ref on one of them.
Yes, that sounds right. But I think the question we have to ask. John Jones is the GOAT, right? Is it disputed at this point? Like, there's nothing you can say he had his PED issues. He had his own issues with drugs and everything. He's not a clean slate. He's not a cookie cutter athlete. Everyone knows this. But is it safe to say that the way that he closed that fight out and the domination and the way he did it, that he is not pound for pound the best fighter up there in the best fighter of all time conversation?
100%. The way that he won that fight was the most impressive thing. I think most people thought that he would win the fight. I don't think most people thought that he was going to come out and win it in 2 minutes or whatever it was. He did exactly what he should have done. And how many times too do we see where guys the path to victory is somewhat clear and they go out and don't even follow the script, and they talk, hey, we trained to do things a certain way and the fight just didn't go that way. John Jones went out and did exactly what he should have done, which was take Cyril Gane down and choke his ass out. That was everybody and their brother knew that was the surest path to victory for him, and to go out and execute the game plan perfectly just shows you how great he really is.
Mm-hmm. I mean, that was incredible. It's hats off to him, dude. How long was it been? 2 years?
3, I think.
3 years. I thought it was 3 years.
Almost exactly 3 years.
And to come in and take a guy on like that too, like Gane's not something to be messed with. He's not something weak. It's not an easy step through. And to do it as quick as it would have been cool to see a little bit more, because I would have liked to have seen the power from John Jones, see how he is. But dude, no, he is definitely the greatest of all time. There's hands down nobody.
Let me ask you this, Dyer, because I mean that was a big card. Arguably, a bigger fight is going to be him versus Stipe. Stipe draws names, draws numbers. His story is ridiculous as well. Is Stipe over the hill though?
Yes.
Prime Stipe, I think, up a weight class could give Jones a run for his money. But is Stipe too old now, Dyer? Or do you think he's still got it in the tank?
Man, it's hard to say. Again, he's coming off a 2-year layoff. Stipe at 35 years old, moving the way that he did, and having still the wrestling chops that he did. He wasn't a huge wrestler, but he had good enough wrestling skills that he was able to out wrestle a lot of the guys in the heavyweight division at the time. But I actually just went back and watched the second Stipe versus Cormier fight, and even at that time, Stipe wasn't moving like he used to. He was kind of just standing in front of him, taking too much damage. If he does that against John Jones, he's gonna get destroyed. So it's hard to say. He's a lot older even now than, of course, he was then. That was what, 4 years ago, something like that.
Yeah.
3 or 4. Man, I don't like Stipe's chances in this one, because he just, unless he goes back to what he used to do and he's able to move around. 2 years is a long time. Your body heals up. Those Cormier fights took a ton out of him too. I mean, anytime that you have a trilogy that is as grueling as that one was, those 3 fights are fights that take years off of anybody's career. So, coming back though, after 2 years, a lot of things can happen. That's good for your chin. But ring rust is a real thing. So we'll see. John Jones obviously was immune to it. Let's see if Stipe can do something similar.
I think the bigger fight would be for him. He's got to fight Ngannou. But he's out though.
Yeah.
He's out.
He's done.
I mean, that's
they're not gonna.
He's
the one everybody
done.
wants, but we're probably never going to get.
What is he? What is he gonna do now? Is he just boxing? Going to box? Because I know he's supposed to box. Isn't it Tyson Fury? They talked about it. I don't know how well that really went.
Here's the thing. I mean, Dana White has said this before about people being done and how they're never going after him again, whatever. It's hard for me to see UFC not going back to him in a year or two if he's still in fighting shape, just because he's such a pay-per-view draw as well. People love just to see him beat the shit out of people, just straight up. And I'll be curious. I mean, Dyer, what's your thoughts there? Because Dana White was pretty strong about it when they asked him about it, but he said that exact phrase before about other fighters who have come back.
Yeah, Dana White says a lot of things. He can be very spiteful, but he's also a smart businessman. So he many times has put his ego aside and brought guys back or brought guys in to draw money. And that's really the bottom line. If they can make it work, then, within reason to what the UFC wants to do from an organizational standpoint, then anything's possible. I think the ball is probably more in Francis's court. It doesn't sound like he was willing to make very many concessions, if any, on what it was that he was asking for. He was offered the biggest contract for a heavyweight in UFC history, and it wasn't enough for him. So,
Yeah.
What else can you really say there? They backed up the Brinks truck, and he said no thanks. So, the ball's kind of in his court. I think it's going to depend on what he can do in the boxing world, what kind of money he can make there. It's going to be a money fight situation. It's not like he's going to go and start at the bottom. So, if he can fight somebody like Tyson Fury or Deontay Wilder is another one that I've seen thrown around. Either one of those fights, I think, does big pay-per-view numbers. He gets his payday, and who knows, maybe he comes back. But again, it was kind of a weird situation. It wasn't the money that was the problem. It was other ancillary things that he was asking for that were the deal breakers.
Let's talk about the fight that surprised some people and really didn't surprise people who have followed the career of this individual. Bo Nickel just absolutely dominated in his first ever UFC fight. Submission in 2 minutes 54 seconds in the first round against Jamie Pickett. The NCAA has set up a lot of people really well with the prowess that the wrestling culture has there, especially when you go to a big time wrestling school, which he did, Penn State, in the toughest wrestling conference in the country, which has multiple Olympians, multiple fighters, or people who have fought coming out of it, things like that. Dyer, were you surprised by Bo Nickel's domination, or is this just something that people really should have seen coming with just how dominant he was in his ground game there?
No, I wasn't really surprised in that. He's one of the most decorated wrestlers in NCAA history. And he showed incredible potential in the few fights that he had professionally. I don't think that after 3 fights, if the UFC, didn't think he was deserving, 3 pro fights is not a lot. For those that don't follow MMA, 3 pro fights and then making your debut on
A main card.
UFC pay-per-view event main card that doesn't happen. So he's legit. He is the real deal, and man, the weight class that he's in too is just perfect for him to go on the fast track. I'm not saying that he's going to get a title shot after 3 fights in the UFC, but he could be on the fast track because the middleweight division is kind of short on wrestlers.
It's
look
funny.
at the top: Israel Adesanya and Alex Pereira. Not very good wrestling. We saw it in that title fight that they had. Izzy took Pereira down, and I think that was the first time that Israel scored a takedown in his career, something like that. So they don't wrestle at the top of that division. Big opportunity for Bo Nickel.
Here's a question though: could Bo Nickel get inside on someone like Izzy?
Yeah, I think he could. That's the thing, though. It might take him a little bit more time. And striking wise, he's not even close to ready for that test. But all it's going to take is, in a situation like that, when he gets to that level and he's ready for that opportunity, he's just got to get him against a cage one time. He's going to score that takedown.
Question in the chat. We've kind of talked about this before, but it's an interesting question. I'm bringing it up again. How much money to take a punch from Francis Ngannou?
Oh,
I think
God.
we had this question about, who did we ask it about? Was it
Mike Tyson.
Mike Tyson. He's going to do severe damage to you. The question was, would you rather take a fastball off Jacob deGrom or a punch from Mike Tyson? That was the question. I think everyone said fastball from Jacob deGrom.
Yeah.
No question. But if I had to put a dollar value on how much someone would have to pay me to be punched by him,
We're talking millions.
Yeah, because it's gonna medical bills included.
I was gonna say the damage is gonna be even more.
Yeah, I would.
It's basically just life insurance because he might kill you.
Yes.
If you're just standing there, not moving or anything, not trying, and just letting him punch you in the face, you might die. Just a normal person.
Even if I'm moving, I might die. You kidding me?
I mean, 10K is 10K, but if I'm in the hospital,
That's
after that,
not
I'm spending
covering-
way more than 10K.
Yeah, Terps is right. That 10K is not going to cover the bill. That might be like maybe one night for you at the hospital. Maybe.
Well, you know what's gonna happen? Your insurance is gonna be like, so, Mr. Holland,
You're
how
an
did this
idiot.
happen? How did this happen? Oh, car accident.
I tried to run around. Yeah. Would you get hit by a train? Yep.
That's changing your face. You'll look different. Your bone structure changes after
And then-
taking that.
and then
So
they
those
put-
that can see, my nose will be over here. One of my eyes will be over here as well. The other one will stay. Well, actually, you know what? My left eye is going to cross past my right eye. And my teeth, yeah, I won't even have teeth. My jaw
Yeah.
will be, I won't even have a jaw anymore. I'm going to have to start eating out of I'll have a feeding tube.
Dude, for real.
No chance. I'm sorry.
No.
10K. Yeah, I get it. 10K is a lot of money, but
I'll take 10K for a fastball by DeGrom.
in the face? In
No,
the head?
no, the ribs, butt.
Yeah, I'll take 10K then.
Yeah.
Fucking for that. Okay.
Yeah, yeah. In the face? Nah. Face, we're talking millions. We're talking millions as well.
Yep.
There's your face after taking a punch from Francis. I just put it in the topics.
Just completely, just
It'd be worse than that. What's
And
the
he-
dude? I need the dude that lost part of his lip.
oh god.
Remember that guy?
Yeah,
That was actually from Nagano too.
Ngannou's just, and those are people whose faces have, their bone structure has developed in such a way that like they can take hits.
It's a rock.
We can't.
Like a rock.
We can't. Let's move on to another sports topic. That question was in the chat. World Baseball Classic is here. A lot of really good teams and a lot of interesting teams in this World Baseball Classic, obviously. So just to go down the list, you have Chinese Taipei, the Netherlands, and everyone's always surprised by the Netherlands, but the Netherlands, people forget. Wow, it's hard to say. The Netherlands have Curacao and Aruba in their roster. There are quite a few very good ball players from that area of the world, and Curacao has a ginormous baseball culture. Huge baseball culture. Cuba, Italy, Panama, Japan,
Wait,
Korea,
You say Panama?
Panama,
Panama.
Australia, China, the Czech Republic, first time ever there, USA, Mexico, Colombia, Canada, Great Britain. I believe this is also their first appearance or their first in a long time. Puerto Rico, Venezuela, Dominican Republic, Israel, Nicaragua. Obviously, big pool. The favorites are going to be DR, Puerto Rico, USA, and Japan to go out there and win it all. But Derek, I have an interesting question for you specifically. So you obviously played the World Baseball Classic.
Mhm.
You played for Team USA.
Sure did.
But
America.
my question is more this. They use basically MLB rules, essentially MLB rules with some changes. MLB baseballs, all MLB umps, that kind of thing. How much of an effect does that have on the pitchers from China, Chinese Taipei, Korea, Japan, and who are used to pitching specifically with their baseballs? And we're not talking about guys like Shohei Ohtani, who plays in the MLB and goes back for a baseball classic, because most of their roster is still made up of people from their respective leagues.
Yeah. No, I get that. It's gonna play a factor. I mean, they got to get used to the ball, which what they're trying, what you can see and sense from it is MLB is just trying to make our baseball the universal baseball for all of baseballs. But yeah, I mean, I know for a fact they've had time before, so it's not like this is just something that they had to learn. They've definitely had this going on for a while. Previous World Baseball Classics, they've had that, so it's like I know they're getting used to those baseballs beforehand. I will say probably if not, then okay, I'm wrong. But I would say the majority of MLB baseballs versus, for instance, Japanese baseballs, they're not going to move as much as the Japanese baseball. That would be the big factor. But yeah.
Well, you got to imagine a lot of those guys in Japan, Korea, who want to come to the States have used and are familiar, at least with to some extent, the ball that's used over here, seeing as we are still the premier destination in terms of professional baseball in the world.
Yeah.
You want to try to get as close to that as possible in some way. A really big rule change this year for the WBC, which they did intentionally, which I like, is that you don't have to be a citizen of the country to play for the country anymore. You just have to be eligible for citizenship in that country. So you don't have, for example, Italy, you don't have to be an Italian citizen to play on their team anymore. You have to be eligible to get Italian citizenship from Italy. It just broadened because what was happening was a lot of these teams, and Derek, you saw firsthand, there was a clear upper echelon between A and B level teams and then the rest of the world.
Yeah.
There's a clear difference between Israel and
Well, I
Puerto
could have
Rico.
I could have been playing for the Team Netherlands because I have Dutch heritage in me, or Dutch, whatever you want, roots. I've been asked, well, this is when I was back with the Giants, but they were like, hey, if you don't play for Team USA, would you think of joining Team Netherlands? Because I have that in me. And I was like, well, yeah, I would love to. I mean, it's still pretty cool to say that I can be a part of where my ancestors came from. So,
Good team too.
Yeah, that would have been cool.
They had a good team, but they loosened the rule to allow a little bit more, which is good. Which is allowing for a little bit better competition, a little bit more even competition. And you got guys able to go over, like Lars Dutbar's playing for Team Japan.
Yeah.
But
I get it, but I also kind of liked how it was anyway. That's fine that it's, you're still promoting the game. So it's like maybe more kids are seeing it like, oh man, I want to be the next guy from Israel to go and play professional baseball and represent my country. Because like at the end of the day, I get it. Yes, the talent is different, but you're still representing your country. And it's crazy to see how much the hype and competition picks up when you get to actually represent your country. Like when I wore USA on my chest, bro, it's like a whole nother element. Don't get me wrong. I gave everything I could for Texas when I played for Texas or the teams I played for, but there's just something different about wearing a Team USA jersey. Like it to me, it's a dream come true because I'm representing the country, not a state. We're talking about the country. I'm representing the United States of America. That meant so much to me. We're talking about the troops, like being able to stand on that field and I have USA on my chest. Like, I don't know how to really describe it. It's just such a surreal thing to do I'm Derek Holland and I'm pitching for USA and I'm pitching against Canada. Or I'm pitching against, for instance, they play on Sunday, Mexico. Like we're going against a country. It's not Derek from the Texas Rangers taking on the New York Yankees. Like, no, it's just so big. It's like, it's such a cool thing. Like there is no feeling that this I mean, yeah, the World Series is up there obviously, but it's the country. Like, I don't know how I can put it out there without it. Like I know I'm just going in circles, but I don't know how to describe it because it's such a surreal moment. Like obviously it's a dream come true to be pitching in the major leagues, but then on top of that, you get to pitch for your country. Like that's the pride that I have for this country. It's like those guys in the Dominican or Venezuela. It means so much to them in that country. And you see it when you're on the field. You can tell, like, it's not like they don't go out there and try, or they don't try when they're playing for USA, their individual teams. It's just, there's something to it. Like it's a different element. It's wild. I mean, you as fans, let me ask you guys this. Like, I know you want to go watch, let's say maybe your favorite player. I'm just going to use Dyer or actually Terps. Sorry. Terps. Francisco Lindor. Francisco
I'm gonna
Lindor.
get to see him play.
You love it. Yeah. Let's just say that was your favorite player. And now you're going to watch him play for his country. Like, it's going to mean a lot to you because it's like, man, this is cool as shit. Like, he's representing his country. And yeah, of course he's representing the Mets, but it's more about his country. Like, it's just a different type of, I don't know how to put it out there.
Well, that's why I like the rules loosening, because it's allowing people who felt a connection to a country but they didn't have like a direct, like as direct as they originally wanted, basically Olympic rules to that country, to now play for that team. But it's also what I think it's doing, which is a really cool thing, is because it's allowing for more roster flexibility. It's going to help grow the game, because now people from Australia can say, oh, hey, this guy played for Team Australia. I can watch him play if I'm making a team up, the Yankees, who didn't have that chance to do it, because that's just growing the game even more. Able to say Great Britain, they have one of their players is like a top prospect, and that's gonna grow the game as well. And I think the really cool part about the World Baseball Classic is baseball is not a global sport in the way that soccer is, obviously, or the way cricket is, or anything like that. But it's a large enough global sport that you're able to get competitive teams from not just USA and Dominican Republic, Puerto Rico, because now Korea, extremely formidable team. Japan could very well go out and win the whole damn thing.
Mm-hmm.
They're that good. And then you got teams like Israel, who go undefeated in their qualifiers. Teams like Great Britain, who have managed to go undefeated. So now you're seeing this talent level start to get a little bit closer. Do I think that Israel, Australia, Great Britain, Chinese Taipei, Cuba, Italy, do I think they're going to win it all? No. But I think it could start getting a little more competitive, and that's the bigger thing with the World Baseball Classic, because it for me, to show global growth of a game, I want to see at least the World Baseball Classic get more competitive, which it's becoming, because that will want people will now want to watch it because it's competitive. Otherwise, I mean, are you really interested in watching Dominican Republic versus Israel?
Yeah, no, I get it.
Because you know what's going to happen. But speaking of that,
I'm watching it right now. USA is taking on the Giants. They're losing 3-0 to the Giants.
On FS1 is Australia versus Korea.
So speaking of Korea, they have a guy, I don't know his, I might say the wrong thing, Jung Ho Lee, I think. He's supposed to be the next Joe DiMaggio is what they're comparing him as.
Really?
Now, but this is the only thing, and I talked about this today on 105.3 The Fan, the KMC Masterpiece. We talked about this, and it sucks. When you give comparisons like that, it's tough to do that when there's only 6 teams in your league. So, of course, you could be the next Mike Trout over there, but you're not really playing against a whole bunch of teams, whereas here you're playing so many players or so many teams that it's just different, if that makes sense. Like, how can you compare somebody to Joe DiMaggio when you only have 6 teams, which you're not really getting as much of the talent? And it's nothing against Korea by any means, but your level of competition is not like the major league level, and it's not like Japan. I think Japan is the second best level when it comes to baseball, behind the MLB.
Japan would be what, quadruple A?
Yeah, I would say it's probably. I mean, it's 4A, I guess. Because now that I think about it, it's like I can't just call it the major league. So yeah, it's 4A.
It would be. It's like it's getting there.
It's right
Japan's
there.
getting really close.
But see, with Japan, with Japanese baseball, they do the basic stuff. They play the small ball. There's bunting. There's hitting run. They don't care who you are. You're going to do your part to win the game or help this team win. That's the one thing that I think is very different. And I know they don't have a pitch clock because clearly they don't worry about that. They don't take their time like that. Everybody gets in the box, or everybody does one thing when they get up and pitch. That's it.
Dyer, what are your thoughts on the WBC, and are you going to be watching any of it?
Yeah, I'll definitely be watching some. From a timing standpoint, I think that's going to have a lot to do with it. But I love the World Baseball Classic. I was kind of disappointed initially when they took baseball out of the Olympics all those years ago. But honestly, I think the World Baseball Classic is better than what Olympic baseball was.
Competition's
Um,
higher.
Oh, absolutely. And you know, it's I think it's interesting. It adds a nice little wrinkle there that they've loosened the rules as far as who can play for what team. I think ultimately that's a good thing. It's fun, you know. Anytime that you can go out and put your country on the front of your chest and play with a bunch of guys that normally you wouldn't play with, and you know, as a fan, we get to see that and the dynamic that adds, and you know, some people that we haven't heard of too. Not everybody on these teams are names that we know, and in a lot of these teams, they're not names that we know. I mean, how many guys can you name on the Israeli team or the Italian team, or you know, any of those clubs? So it's going to be fun. Definitely, I love the World Baseball Classic.
There are some rule changes in the World Baseball Classic that have obviously been put in place because it's preseason for most of the guys, a lot, especially the MLB guys who are going through their early season routine, and to protect people. So I'm gonna go over the rules here, and keep in mind a lot of them sound silly or like little league rules, but we got to remember at the end of the day, as much as Derek wants to pitch for Team USA or the whatever, the Texas Rangers would not be very happy if he had a season-ending injury while playing in the World Baseball Classic. So there are some rules now in place to kind of prevent that, which makes sense. The first one is pitch counts. So there are pitch counts. First round, you're limited to in the first round, you're limited to 65 pitches. The quarterfinals, 80 pitches. The semifinals, 95 pitches. Now, just like in Little League, you can finish an appearance, obviously. So if you're at your 65th pitch and you're in the middle of a at-bat, they don't just yoink you. You finish the at-bat. And intentional walks do not count towards the pitch limits for obvious reasons. So that's one rule that's in place. There's also usage limits. So you cannot throw them back-to-back days unless you've thrown fewer than 29 pitches, and you cannot pitch in 3 straight days.
Home run Goldschmidt.
So they can't use Derek day 1, day 2, day 3. There are pitch limits there. If you go 30 to 49 pitches, you cannot pitch for 1 day. If you pitch more than 50 pitches, you have to wait 4 days until you can pitch again. Starter rules, essentially. Those aren't really real rules, but in World Baseball Classic they are. You're not allowed to use a position player to pitch either in the World Baseball Classic. There are mercy rules. So if a team is leading by 15 or more after the completion of the 5th inning, the game can be called. And if a team is leading by at least 10 after the 7th, the game can be called. So it's umpire discretion in that situation if the game's called or not. 3-batter minimum is there. However, a lot of people will like that or like this. There's no limit on... There's no pitch clock, and there's no limit on mound visits. You're not penalized for that. But yeah, there is no pitch clock. So Derek, as a pitcher, because most of these rules are pitcher focused, thoughts on any of these?
I like it. I like the no pitch clock. I like the mound visits. Obviously the pickoffs too. You're going to see a controlled environment. When it comes to that, I don't think you're going to see 4-hour games like people think.
I don't think so either.
I think these games will go pretty quick too. It'll be interesting. It's gonna be fun to watch. That's for sure. I'm very excited. I mean, it's, to me, you know, it was, when Dyer was saying it too, I agreed too. Taking it away from the Olympics was big. I think that hurt. I think it was a dumb move. But it's, I mean, when else can you get in there? That's the thing. When else can we get guys to go and play? Because if you take them away during the season when the Olympics were, then it's like, all right, well, now what? You know, now people would make excuses because their team maybe isn't winning because we let somebody go to the Olympics or whatever. So,
and or travel alone. I mean,
yeah,
that could have an effect on you. For example, let's say you're going over to play in the Beijing Olympics, and you're now upending your schedule to go over there for 2, 3, 4 weeks, and getting out of a routine, reestablishing a routine, getting used to a time zone, and coming back again.
Yeah, I mean that's tough. So yeah, it's you're gonna always like people are gonna always run into it. When is the right time? Well, if you do it before the season, that's fine. You do it after the season, well, then guys are tired. Then they don't really get their off season. So there's a no-win situation. I like where it's at. I think it's good, especially to be monitoring the way it is. That's the big thing too. I love that they're doing that.
Yeah, because the last thing you want to see is a pitcher get hurt in the World Baseball Classic because they have him out there throwing 115 pitches, or having a situation where a guy gets overused too early when he's still not completely up to full season form, and now has issues when he gets back to the main club, his club. That's just things you just want to eliminate and make it as safe as possible for these guys who are coming up. And that's tough because obviously, it's very hard to tell you guys to not, to tone it down, and because you're competitive, you want to win.
Yeah, I was gonna say good luck on that.
And that's why these rules are there, because
You have to follow them.
you got to be following. You could be so amped up.
they
They say, "No, I got this guy," but Derek, you're at 65 pitches, buddy.
Yeah, that was this. I had that when I was there, because I remember, the pitch count was at 50, if I'm not mistaken, my first time, and Maddox. I remember sitting there talking with Greg Maddox, and he was like, "Well, you only got 50 pitches to work with. That's what the pitch count is. Give me all you got. Try to get to 5." And I ended up going 5 innings. 50 pitches right on the dot.
10 pitches an inning. But it's there. It makes sense. Do guys come out of the World Baseball Classic a little more ready for the season, do you think?
100%.
Because you get put into playoff atmosphere, especially the guys who play over here, especially the Miami pod and the Arizona pod. You get put in playoff atmosphere in March, and you're playing some of the best players in the world in March in must-win situations.
Yeah, but I mean, the only thing I would say, now that I think about it, it did kind of suck, because it was like, man, we went from like playing in the World Series to this is game 2.
Yeah.
Of the regular season. So it's like you went from playoff atmosphere, like you said, to not so much.
Not so much. Yeah. But the playoff atmosphere still awesome.
Still, yeah. I mean, every game was literally like that. And I will say, like, playing against Mexico, it's a rival, and it was so fucking intense. Like, it was so cool. Canada, it was loud. Then we go and advanced and played against Dominican Republic. That was wild. God, that was intense. You play against the Latin countries, Venezuela, Dominican, or Puerto Rico. They're there, and they're loud, and they get into it. It's music nonstop. Like, it's just, it is a awesome fucking atmosphere. I loved it. Dyer, what's your thoughts? I feel like we kind of left you out there a little bit. What are you most excited about when it comes to the WBC?
It's pretty much just that, I'm excited about seeing guys play together that we don't normally get to see. That's one of the things that I like the most about the All-Star game is, seeing, guys from different teams come together and have a little bit of fun. It seems like it's a little bit more pure. I guess, guys are there, obviously you're there to win, but you're there to represent your country, and it's a little bit more of a spectacle. So, I don't know. It just seems like it's a little bit more fun. There's not that kind of mid-season lull that you get over the course of a 162 game season. There's that little bit of a sense of urgency, but also, kind of a lighter atmosphere. So, that's kind of what I like about it. It's just seems like a little bit more of a pure sense of the game that you get from the WBC.
I would agree with that. And there's a lot of national pride that comes into it too, obviously, as Derek said, from not only the players' perspective, but the fans' perspective.
Yep.
The Latin countries are there for it. USA, when the USA won the last World Baseball Classic, it was the amount of pride was insane. It's insane. And there are very few. It's tough to play for your country no matter what sport you're in. Baseball for the longest time has had the least opportunities to do that in terms of team sports. There's not a ton out there. Other than really before the WBC, it was what, the Little League World Series and the Olympics if you're in college. That was pretty much it.
I will say that was fun pitching at the Little League World Series. Not the actual, like, I didn't play in Little League World Series, but when we did the Big League Little League World Series game, that was cool too. I will say that.
Yeah, that they put on a party there too.
Yeah,
Fans are into it.
It was really cool. I had
So
a
let me-
lot of fun with that.
So let me ask you guys this. So in the last few years, MLB has worked very hard to put out different types of games. You had the Little League Classic that came out a few years ago. That's been very popular. You had what seems to be the one-off game at the military base, which I think they should do more of.
Yes.
There's the Field of Dreams game, which is awesome.
Yes.
That's awesome as well. What do you guys see? Is there anything that you think they should add or think about doing to kind of those
Yes.
one-off games, or maybe series, so teams aren't traveling back, and make it a series instead?
So we do like the Negro Leagues uniforms and stuff. I know they did that with Detroit. Why not play at one of the parks?
Are there still parks around that are playable?
I'm sure they can make them playable.
Yeah,
All it takes is a little fixing up and it'll be good to go.
and
We
then you have
gotta
that
do
park
s-
forever.
Yeah, and then that gets used. 'Cause I know the players of color would love that. I think that would be huge for the game of baseball too. I think it's a good look for baseball, and you're bringing more of the baseball history into it too. That's one of the things. I know clearly places like the Polo Grounds, all that it would be cool if some of those were. I get it. They need to be refurbished and fixed up. If that was the case, okay, let's do it. Let's fix one of those up and let's bring that back. Let's see if we can bring one of the old classic ballparks back. Yeah, it's going to be, it could be bad because obviously one of the parks, I can't think which one, I think it's Polo Grounds, was like $450 or something like that, or whatever, at a dead center. And
yeah, you couldn't do
$250.
that anymore. Not in-
Yeah, I get
yeah.
that. But, let's try to do something along those lines. The other one, what's the other movie? We did Field of Dreams. You could do the, the Sandlot. Do the Sandlot type of game. Do something like that. That would be cool.
How would you do that?
Big
So-
dog in the outfield.
You'd have to, you definitely would have to, I would say you got a dog park out there, but put obviously a high enough net to where that plays, make the fence kind of look like the old fence of the guy's backyard.
Do like a Players Weekend style thing there where you guys can wear what you want essentially within,
you just,
because that was the whole thing of the Sandlot.
Yeah, you got to
It's out there in
play.
your street clothes. Yeah.
Yeah. Kind of just make the uniforms look like street clothes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, you can, at this point, how everything is, you could easily make something like that. I think that would be good for the game too.
So I'm looking real quick. There are a bunch of fields around that some of them are still being used. Some of them need to be revamped or redone. But there are quite a few Negro League stadiums that are still around. Some of them are still being used as ballparks in low A or indie ball. But they do exist. There's about, I think I'm counting 6 or 7 of them that are around. They would need to be touched up and made major league ready, obviously, but
Yeah, and they could easily do that.
they've got billions of dollars. They're
So
fine.
yeah, so you can't tell me that we can't do that.
And I think you're right in the sense that, obviously people are like, oh, well, the Negro Leagues, they already do history, whatever. Very few people actually know about the Negro Leagues.
I was gonna say 100%.
And
people
very
don't know.
few people don't know about the records that were made in the Negro Leagues. And on top of that, there's the age-old question of, if segregation didn't happen, how many records would have been broken in Major League Baseball by some of those athletes that were not allowed to compete at the highest level of play? Because this is gonna be a crazy statement, and some people may hate me for this. Jackie Robinson was not the best player in the Negro Leagues when he came over. It does not in any way belittle what he did, because what he did is insane. Like what he stood up for and everything like that. That's how he changed the game. But there were guys who were way more talented than him who weren't allowed to play. Imagine if the records that would have been set, and look how many records Jackie set by himself, just being Jackie Robinson. Now imagine if Satchel Paige could have played.
Well, Josh Gibson. Nobody talks about Josh Gibson. Get
100%.
84 home runs in a year.
Like insane numbers, absolutely insane numbers, and people forget about it or don't know about it. And baseball is kind of starting to kind of throw it back in there, but it's not quite there yet. It's and I don't understand why they've shied away from it. Obviously, it's a black mark on their history, but if you hide every black mark on your history, you have nothing to talk about.
Mm-hmm. That's well
But
said.
but there's so much history there, so much talent there, and on top of that, extremely rabid fan bases. Those fan bases were diehard,
Yeah.
very popular teams, routine sellout crowds. There were teams that outsold Major League Baseball teams just because of how popular they were. Like,
Yeah, I think educating about the Negro Leagues and the history behind that is something that there does need to be more of. You mentioned that, Terps, and it's not something that I even knew existed growing up until a certain point. And I followed baseball, for my entire life. So I was like, wait a minute, they were like, I never put it really together, I guess, but it's interesting. I think it makes it mean that much more when you know the history of the Negro Leagues and how things really were back then. It elevates even further what breaking the color barrier meant when Jackie Robinson did that, and what went into that and why Jackie was chosen over some of the other players. And it sucks that they had to consider that, but it was a reality of the time that they did have to consider how Jackie would react to the things that they knew were going to happen when he came to the ballpark every day. So I just think more education about the Negro Leagues and putting a little bit more of a spotlight on those players, because a lot of great players that never got a chance or didn't get much of a chance. Satchel Paige was borderline elderly when he finally got a shot to pitch in Major League Baseball. Man, it's such a rich history that I don't think gets talked about enough.
I 100% agree with that statement, and I'll bet you that most people couldn't even name a Negro League team.
I would agree with that.
Probably not. Yeah.
I will bet you that most people could not name, and I'm among them. I think the only one that I knew of 100% was the Philadelphia Stars and the Kansas City Monarchs.
Well, when
'cause
you
that
play
one-
against the Kansas City Royals, you have the option. They invite you out there. You can get out and go check out the Negro Leagues Museum. So
And
will say that.
honestly-
Sorry, I wanted to throw that out there too.
Honestly, a Negro League Classic Series at one of those stadiums every year would be a huge boon to those local economies.
Mm-hmm.
And also it gives people the opportunity to actually learn about the history of baseball and really the leagues that kind of helped build the modern era of what baseball is now. And I think you're right. Rebuild one of those stadiums or help rebuild one of those stadiums, put some money into it, revitalize it.
And I mean, they still can use it too after.
Yeah.
But I do want to add too, like, not only, okay, yeah, we are spending a lot of time on the Negro Leagues, and I think that's huge for the baseball. It should be a part of baseball, Major League Baseball. But they also keep doing stuff like traveling to other countries and playing games too. I think that's good as well. That helps a lot with growing the game, just like NFL is doing that, and I think NBA is going to start doing that too. So you're definitely seeing that. So that definitely helps. But I mean, what else can you possibly keep doing to grow the game?
Hall of Fame game.
Oh,
There's
yeah.
not one. There's not a Hall of Fame game.
Like there is for football. You're right.
There's not a preseason Hall of Fame game. There's not an in-season Hall of Fame game. There's not. And now, granted, Cooperstown's in a really awkward place to have a game.
You can make it happen.
You could make it happen.
If you made it happen in freaking Dyersville, Iowa, then you can easily make it happen.
When is the Hall of Fame ceremony?
That's a
Isn't
good
it in
question.
August?
I'm pretty sure it's during the season, right?
The start of the season?
No, it's during the season. is what
Oh,
I'm
yeah,
saying.
yeah. I
Yeah.
want to say it is in August.
Sunday, July 23rd is what it is this year.
Yeah. Yeah, I think so.
But why can't that be a thing?
It can.
Now, some teams will bitch about having to travel and losing a home game or whatever, but like, you're telling me that they couldn't find a way to have a Hall of Fame game every year? Baseball Hall of Fame is probably the most storied Hall of Fame in the U.S. Does anyone give a shit about the NFL Hall of Fame?
Mm,
The NBA Hall of Fame? NHL Hall of Fame?
mm.
No.
I don't
Baseball.
They don't play. Do they play besides football? They don't do games on in the NBA Hall of Fame or the NHL.
No, I don't think they do.
Okay, so that's weird. So it just showed up because I'm watching MLB Network, watching the game. They showed the Negro Leagues is going to be in MLB 23, the show.
Yeah, for the first time. They're
So-
bringing them fully.
See, so why can't we just keep? If you're going to do that, let's add it now. Let's add the stadiums. Let's play at one of these stadiums.
And I think a lot of people, a lot of players, baseball like athletes, don't know the history themselves, and don't know. Like, obviously, everyone knows Jackie Robinson. Everyone knows Satchel Paige. Everyone knows, everyone knows the basics, some of the basic guys. But a lot of people don't know about, and a lot of people don't know the museum exists. A lot of people don't even know where it is. But golden opportunity to make something happen, and Major League Baseball get on it, because from the how do I say this? From the economical greedy standpoint, it's a money making machine. But from the human standpoint, why haven't we done it already? Celebrate it, because it's a huge part of your culture.
Mm-hmm.
That'll be really cool though. And just have them play as like the respective teams from their closest.
Area.
Yeah.
That'd
I
be
didn't know if
awesome.
you were trying to say something or what.
Yeah, I was getting there. I was getting there. But yeah, I mean that would be really sick. Let's just talk baseball real quick. Have you guys seen anything? Been following anything? Anything out there that piquing anyone's interest in baseball? Obviously, we're really early into the season, into the spring training, and now with the World Baseball Classic, things are kind of all over the place as to who's playing where, who's doing what, everything like that.
No,
Dyer,
I can't
for
say
fair-
for me. I can't say I have. It's my own thing because I'm dealing with my own stuff, not being able to play. But here soon, I'll be 100% diving into baseball games and all that stuff. So right now, yeah. Not
Are you
playing.
paying attention to your team, or are you just kind of waiting to see what Cleveland does in the regular season?
Yeah, I generally don't pay much attention to spring training. It is what it is. It's there for guys to get back into game shape, and that you got guys going out there that are only throwing fastballs, and guys going out. I remember one year Casey Blake hit 500 in spring training, and then went on to hit like 215 in the actual regular season. So, I mean, spring training doesn't mean a whole lot from a standpoint of, what guys are doing. So I don't pay much attention to it. I'll get real excited for opening day, but spring training for me is kind of an afterthought, to be honest. Unless I had the opportunity to ever go, that would be awesome. But I don't know. Maybe I'll turn on a game and listen to it on the radio just to start vibing with it a little bit. But But no, I don't really pay a whole lot of attention to it, to be honest.
One thing that'll make you very happy, Derek, is MLB The Show has brought back the 99 ratings for active players. I know for the longest time that was not only the gripe of you, but quite a few players who I've spoken to who feel like there are certain guys who should be 99s when compared to all players of all time. So they released their top 12 ratings earlier today. I'm sure it'll come in as no surprise. Mike Trout is a 99 overall starting the season, as is Aaron Judge, Shohei Ohtani, Paul Goldschmidt, and Jacob deGrom. All got 99 ratings across the board. Justin Verlander came in at 98. Mookie Betts, Max Scherzer, Nolan Arenado, 96s. Manny Machado, Bryce Harper, and Corbin Burns, 95s. So those are your top 12. Anything that kind of sticks out to you? Paul Goldschmidt being a 99 is a little surprising to me. Mike Trout, Aaron Judge, deGrom, Ohtani, 100% I can see that. Anything out of those ratings for you from a professional standpoint that seems...
The only thing I would say that, I mean, and it sucks because he is absolutely filthy. No, actually, I don't. There's not really.
You going with deGrom, weren't you?
Yeah, I was.
Because you said that in years past too, which is not.
It's
an
nothing
accurate
against
statement.
him because he's absolutely a 99. There is no doubt about it. He deserves that. But you got to be on the field, so I'm wondering if they do make him injury prone in the game. I hate saying that because you do get hurt in the game. There's injuries that happen. But the other thing too is, and you're gonna have to correct me on this because I know you play the show a lot more than I do. Does it change as the season goes? If he starts struggling, he goes down.
So there are cards that don't change. They don't have one-off cards that are a strict rating, but their live series cards, which is what these are, do change. So they can go over 99, they can go under 99 with boosts, or they can be dropped down completely. So we saw that. We saw a bunch of guys last year start off as diamonds and work their way down. Or the flip side, for example, Carlos last year started as a silver and is now one of the top 40 players in their rankings.
Mm-hmm.
So you're able to go up, obviously, as well. So yeah, we could see deGrom drop off. I think Goldie's going to drop off. I don't know if he's a 99 across the board. Judge definitely. Bryce Harper being only a 95.
I'm okay with that.
Do you think that he goes up from there, or does that seem right for you?
It seems fine with me. I'm okay with it.
And then Corbin Burns 95. Not a ton of no relievers really on there. You got
I'm curious if
Verlander, Scherzer.
I'm wondering if I'll be in it. I'll be in it as a free agent, I bet, just for this year.
Probably.
And then who knows?
If you're still with the Union, you're in it. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, I'll be
If
in
you're
it.
still listed as active player, you're in it. That's the way their rights work.
Because I'm technically still active. I'm not retired.
You're just not actively playing.
I'm just not actively with a team.
Yeah.
That could
you're with Art.
change. It could change.
You're with our team right now.
I will say though, I'm definitely gonna have the show, and I'll definitely be playing it again. I did like when we did have our little season, but the only thing is it just gets so hectic. That's the only.
And time. People gotta have time to play.
Yeah. So I'm sure we could try to figure something out to make it interesting, I guess.
So one more big topic to talk about. Let's talk about the elephant in the room in terms of football, because we haven't spoken about it apart from our group chat. We might as well talk about it. Derek, where the hell is Aaron Rodgers going to go?
Oh.
Where's he going? Is he retiring? Or is he going back to Green Bay? Is he going to the
I think
Jets?
he's going to the Raiders.
I think he's going to the Raiders.
Yeah.
Why?
Devontae Adams. They've had some pretty interesting conversations on Twitter.
They have.
But Jets do make sense though too.
Dyer, what do you think?
I don't understand him going to the Jets if that happens. I mean, everything that I've seen is that he wants to go somewhere that is ready to win now, and I don't think the Jets are that close.
The question though is, can you judge the Jets based off of their offensive core specifically? Can you judge that based off of having Zach Wilson be your quarterback?
Probably not, but will they be scores better than they were before? Of course. Are they a Super Bowl contender if they sign Aaron Rodgers? I truly don't think so. I don't know. I think the Raiders do make more sense. I think if they sign Aaron Rodgers, they are a Super Bowl contender right away. You can shore up the issues that they had on defense pretty quick through the draft and free agency, and the offense is there. So offensive line has some holes, but again, you can plug those up too. I think that's the team that makes the most sense. I think Miami. Has anybody talked about Miami?
So Miami supposedly came out and said that they are not interested. They are going to ride the Tua train provided he's healthy. Is what the reporting is. They were looking for a backup, but they were going to stay. A bunch of teams have come out and said that they're not interested now. I also saw, I think it's Atlanta said no, that they're not interested. On top of that,
He brings a circus with him. That's true.
he does bring a circus with him. he does. Now there was
The only thing I was going to say that may hurt Las Vegas is that I don't know how he's going to. I don't know if he can play nice with Josh McDaniels. I feel like those two would butt heads a lot.
I saw an interesting take on the Pat McAfee show today. They had Seth Greenberg on, and the Mike Greenberg, whoever it is. My brain's so dead. But he made an interesting point that if Aaron Rodgers doesn't want to be with the Packers and he wants to go to the Jets or to the Raiders or to whoever, and the Packers really want to really want everything for him, what they should get. But Aaron Rodgers really doesn't want to stay in Green Bay. All he has to do is threaten to stay in Green Bay. Because his $60 million cap hit would send Green Bay into a tailspin like no other. And if he really wanted to be petty about it, he could just tell them, I'm just going to stay. And force them to make a move. Which would be an interesting play to make.
I think that's what he's going to do.
And that way you could end up with a team getting him for a steal, essentially.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think about, interesting for you guys because you guys are Browns fans, what do you think about Baltimore basically saying to Lamar Jackson, listen, good luck?
Yeah, that's crazy. I will say that. That was definitely very crazy. But that's whatever. I mean, that's good for us as Browns fans because I don't know who they're going to use as their quarterback next. It's not going to be
Someone's going to
Hundley.
pick him up, right? Someone's going to get him.
Isn't Hundley gone or whatever his name is?
I think so. Now the other option is if they're planning on if they're planning going out and getting somebody, but you have to think that someone's willing to give 2 first-round picks to Lamar.
Are they
he's
though?
that.
You're having team. I think there's collusion going on because there literally are teams coming out saying they're not going after him. Like the Falcons, for instance, should be a team that should be going after him, and they're not. Like that seems a bit odd. And yes, DeAndre Hopkins going to the Browns.
Calling that already?
Mm-hmm.
We put money on it?
It's one of Deshaun's favorite targets.
It would make sense for him to go.
I'll put $20 on it.
If he goes to the Browns?
Mm-hmm. But it can't. You have to pick a team too, because
that's too tough. Then I don't, because that's the right call.
Well, the only reason why I say it is if I'm picking a team and clearly there's 29 other teams he could go to.
He's got to be the favorite there, right?
I don't know.
Nate Kendrick says 25. He goes to the Cowboys.
Lamar, or are we talking about
DeAndre?
DeAndre?
DeAndre.
Okay.
He's in Texas right now.
That's fine. He probably lives here. Houston.
You think Cowboys? I'm
No.
seeing Cowboys. I'm
say
seeing
no.
Cowboys.
Say no.
You think that Deshaun's going to pull some strings and?
I mean, that's his
But
guy.
what do you guys have to give?
Mm,
What would you guys be willing to give for him? That's
I
appropriate.
hate saying
for
this,
him.
but I think I would see Peoples Jones gone. I hope
You
not,
said-
though.
You sending picks?
Possibly, yeah. I don't know what
How
all
many
they would
picks
give
to
up.
send?
Yeah, I don't know what they would give up, to be honest. They're not going to get rid of Amari Cooper.
No, but I'm already seeing they won't be able to afford him after this season, so they're going to have to figure something out.
Oh, well, then maybe that's what is happening. Then maybe it would be Cooper.
There's also the chance that he just doesn't go anywhere.
Yeah, I know.
There's also the chance that trades aren't there and cap space isn't there, and they just don't.
I just
They just don't do anything about it.
If you think this year's the year and this is the shot to take, which I do, that's why they signed Deshaun in the first place. I don't think that you get rid of Amari right now. You try and get creative after this season. Worry about 24, 25 when this season's over with. I think you got to stick with Cooper and try and find creative ways to get other pieces that may be missing. Because DeAndre Hopkins he's not an upgrade from Cooper, especially with the age factor.
yeah. I
I like Cooper more.
Oh, I do too. I definitely love Cooper more.
It's gonna be interesting next few weeks of football, just because there's gonna be some big moves and there's gonna be some crazy moves, and then I'm also curious how many teams are watching the Aaron Rodgers saga, because we've already had one situation where the Jets told another quarterback that Rodgers is their number one and to kind of hold off. So how many people are waiting for Aaron Rodgers to pick a team, and how many of those teams are waiting on Aaron Rodgers to not pick them before they make their move, and how many other teams are saying, well, fuck it, we're not waiting. We're not in the running anyway, or we don't think we have an outside shot. Let's just go get who we want to get now, which then fucks up the other teams who've been waiting for Rodgers to pick a team.
I think you're 100% right on that. It's just like baseball free agency, waiting for that first domino to fall.
Mhm.
What would you qualify Aaron Rodgers as in baseball? Because keep in mind, this would be a trade, not a.
He would
Not
be.
a,
He'd be a very a veteran guy. I would.
Not a free agent signing. It would be a trade. Too.
Right. No, I
Keep that
know.
in mind.
I would say he's like a. God, who would be a bigger
Like a
name guy?
Verlander, if Astros were trying to trade him.
Yeah, actually, that's a pretty good one. I would say he's like the Verlander of. Who's younger, Verlander or Scherzer?
They're both up there.
I know.
I think Scherzer's younger.
So let's say it's Scherzer then. Whoever's slightly younger of the two is what it would be.
Scherzer is 38. So yeah, he's about a year younger than Verlander.
So there you go.
Because that's just got to be like, once that domino falls, I think we're going to see a bunch of boom, 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 boom right down the line.
Because I think let's say that if that was the case, you know, you got your regular free agency and then there's that. I think that's going to be a factor of which like once he falls, okay, now we can go.
And in some cases, the Packers might not like the way it falls,
Correct.
because now with those trade pieces, if that happens, also Australia is now up 2-0 on Korea.
Upset City.
Upset City. But yeah, I mean, it's going to have this. Has there been a bigger. Let me ask you this, both of you guys. What would you classify this as in modern sports trades? Is there anything that's this big that's been holding things up this long?
In baseball?
In recent memory, in any sport?
Well, I was going to say, do you think free
Probably
agency?
not from a trade standpoint.
Yeah,
Free agency is different.
Free agency is different.
I know that's where that's where it gets me twisted. Because if you think about it, like free agency took a little bit of time this year, waiting for that first domino to fall. But I don't think there was like a big trade piece waiting to happen.
The LeBron, maybe the decision,
Yeah, I don't want
but
to.
that wasn't really.
That was free agency though.
That was. I can't really think of another recent major sports potential trade or not trade or drama that's been surrounding it that's essentially held an entire organization hostage. Whether you like Aaron Rodgers or not, that's essentially what's happened. Is Green Bay is essentially being held hostage by him,
Yeah,
and they're holding him hostage as well. It's a two-way hostage situation. Does he want to be there? Does not want to be there? That's, who knows? But it's going to be a wild few days. Because you have to think that decision comes within a week, right? Maybe even a few days.
I think so.
yeah. Yeah, that's interesting.
I don't know. Like, either way, we know that our editor will be frantically refreshing. He doesn't have Twitter anymore, so we'll go with Yahoo Sports every moment he gets.
Does he have access to the off the fair poll Twitter?
He does, but he is intentionally not downloading Twitter because he knows if he downloads Twitter, he is back on Twitter. So he's using it as like I'm not even touching it kind of thing.
So at this point, why don't you just get it back? Who
Because
cares?
he doesn't handle Twitter very well. he
You
he
can't
is
let that stuff get to you or what. I don't know what the situation is. It's
so his
none of my
his
business.
situation is he gets very invested,
and that's okay.
if that makes sense, and it goes down a rabbit hole, which is why he's chosen to step away from social media, apart from Facebook.
I get
But-
it, but I'm just saying, like,
I guess we'll take a few more questions. So shoot them out there now if you guys have them before we wrap up. Do you think the Cowboys will trade Zeke? Is a question from the chat right now.
is he a free agent or? Because I mean, I follow a little bit of the Cowboys, not that much.
Let's find out.
I think they should trade Zeke.
So no,
Yeah,
he
that-
just had. So his out is this year, 2023. And then he is owed.
Wait, 2023 or the?
That was the out year, so it's done now. It's gone now. Well, his, and then they have him locked up through 2026.
Yeah, I would say they're. I mean, Jerry's not going to trade him. No, he's going to stay here.
I don't think they're getting rid.
Jerry
one,
likes him.
yes. Two, I don't know if they'll be able to get enough for him to justify if they were to trade him this year.
He's
1,
a-
2, 3, 4 years of control.
He's the number 2 somewhere else, at least. He's not the number 1.
A very expensive number 2
I know.
with
but
4
that's-
years of control.
That's because Jerry paid him.
He did. 6 years, $90 million.
Running backs aren't the premium that they used to be either in the league, you know?
No.
Yeah.
Especially, I mean, short shelf life on a running back. He's starting to show some of those signs of wear and tear. Yeah, you're right. They're not going to get much for him. I mean, even in the way of picks, what are they getting for him? Like a 4th and a 5th?
So the good part for the Cowboys, at least if I'm reading this correctly, is that all of his guaranteed payouts are done already.
Mm-hmm.
His last guaranteed payout was 2022. So that does help if they want to restructure or look to move, but it's going to be tough to talk a guy out of because his contract was backloaded in terms of base salary. So he goes up from here up to 16.6 in 2026. So that's going to be and that's going to be a tough thing to kind of, because his cap hit this year is 16 million, his cap hit next year is 14.3, his cap hit in 2025 is 17 million. and his cap hit in 2026 is 16, and that's without any other restructuring or options jumping in there between now and then. So that's, I think you're right. I don't know who they can trade him for.
They're not.
Who's
There's
gonna?
nothing.
Who's gonna? Yeah.
They want to, like everything that I hear when we talk on the station. They want to draft into their running back. They want to get Bijan from Texas is one of the big ones. I don't know what they're gonna do. It's gonna be interesting.
They can
Is
try to
running back their biggest need, real? I mean, I feel like there's other.
It's just something that there's a lot that they could use, but that's their big topic or big
Man,
thing that they.
I don't know how smart that is.
They have him locked up till he's 31.
Yeah.
I guess the only other good thing we're seeing from football recently is more and more guaranteed contracts coming out, which is very good
Huge.
for the athlete. It's huge for the athletes.
It's. I don't care what anybody says. It's good for NFL. They deserve it. Those players deserve it. The beatings they put on their bodies and they deserve it, hands down.
It's not good for the teams and their caps and what they actually have to pay out, but guaranteed money, and that's was supposedly the holdup with Lamar, was that he wanted more guarantees and they were not willing to provide certain things. And also, I just learned this. I did not know this. He doesn't have an agent. His mom does his negotiation.
Lamar.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know. We were talking about that. That's the other thing too that kind of hurts. And she gets in, like she gets in the way a lot when it comes to negotiation, or not negotiations, but talking with the ownership and stuff. She has no connections too. That's what makes the agents so good, is they're able to connect with the other teams and such. Because we talked about this today on the Fan, and yeah, it's not good with her. Nothing against her. Okay, I want to make sure that's known. There's nothing against her being the agent, but it's not helping him when it comes to that.
And the thing that I don't understand is, again, nothing against her and nothing against other people who've used family members as agents in the past or as intermediaries. That's happened before. But maybe I'm crazy for thinking this, but I kind of feel like if I'm going to negotiate a multi-year, hundreds of millions of dollars deal, I want someone who that's their job. Yes, it's going to cost me more money. Yes, now I'm tied to an agent, and there's things that I might not like about that. But at the end of the day, I know that I'm getting the best person to represent me, who knows the ins and outs, who knows how to finagle owners, who knows how to read the language, who knows how to speak the language, and who knows how to make sure that I get what I want in my deal in a way that makes the team happy. I don't understand why you wouldn't want that. I also don't know what his mother's background is. I don't know if she has a financial background or whatever it is. I don't know. But me personally, I'm out here saying, man, I want a real agent if I'm negotiating a contract like that. Like, Derek, would kind of be like you having your brother negotiate for you.
Yeah.
And your brother's a successful individual. He knows what he's doing. But is he who you want in there when you're negotiating with the Giants?
Nope.
It's not nothing against him. It's just
I want somebody who knows what they're truly doing, and this is what they worked on.
exactly.
And there is such a thing as being too close to it too, you know? I mean, I feel like, especially with moms, you know, we all know how our moms are. Very protective. And dads too, but mom's different. And I just don't know.
Moms, no matter what, will say you're the best there is, no matter what.
Right. I
Like,
don't
not
I
to
don't
be
know.
corny, but you know what I mean.
Like, I don't know if my mom would be capable of objectively negotiating on my behalf for something like that, like a big money deal. If I was a professional athlete, I don't know. It's nothing against my mom. I love my mom. She's a smart lady, but
Just not smart for this situation.
it's
Well, you
just
also-
not. I don't know.
You need someone who's objectively able to say, Derek, they only see you as a number.
Correct.
and be that intermediary. I don't know if a family member in general would be able to separate that to that extent without getting personal about it.
Right. Yeah, I
Derek's not a
agree with that for
number.
sure.
Derek's he does this and he does that. How can you only see him as being a number? Well, in the world of economics, that's exactly what he is to a baseball team. He is a number. He is a financial number that they have to be willing to pay. That's it. And you need someone who's able to do that, and who's able to take that, understand that, and then say, "Hey, Derek, this is what they think about you." Blah 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 blah, and be able to explain it and understand it in a way that everyone understands their job.
Yep. Correct.
So I don't know what he's doing. It sounds like this is more on him. From what I've read and what I've heard, it sounds like it's more on him and less on Baltimore. Although Baltimore's not winning that PR fight because Lamar Jackson is the Baltimore Ravens to that fan base.
I mean,
So
he's
it's
MVP. Former
Yeah.
MVP.
Well, you're still earn that title.
That's true.
Still earn that
He's only
title.
played 12 games each of the last 2 years, though. And his style of play,
It's rough on the body, though.
it's not, yeah. I mean, injury becomes a bigger and bigger risk each time he carries the ball.
Well, I think that's it. Unless you guys have anything else you guys want to talk about today, or bring up, or mention.
No, that's it for me. I got to head to bed here shortly.
I do notice, Derek, that you went for the more subtle T-shirt today.
K for cancer.
I like it. I like it.
No,
Fire
I was
anything-
in a hurry because I felt bad because when you came into my Instagram live and I was still walking, I was still so far away and I was like, "There's no way it's gonna take me that long." So that was on me.
It's all good. No worries. Barry, anything you want to add? Want
No.
to talk about?
No, nothing for me.
So a quick reminder to everybody who is listening live and who is listening on Spotify, there will not be an episode this coming week. The week of March 12th. There will not be an episode. I will be out of town. Editor will be out of town. Everyone's out of town. There will not be an episode this upcoming week. There will be an episode the following week, which I'll go over World Baseball Classic and all that fun stuff. Then hopefully we'll have March Madness talk about a whole bunch of other stuff. And also,
Leon
like I said-
Edwards and Kamara Usman.
True. True. We also gonna have some more fun episodes coming out. Obviously, we're gonna do our MLB draft before the season starts. So that might end up being when I come back. We also want to do some more fun stuff about conspiracies and aliens. We haven't done that in a while, and we're dudes, so we want to do that. That's what we're gonna do. But for all of you guys listening, thanks for hanging out with us. For all of you guys on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, iTunes, wherever you listen to us, give us a like, a rating, a comment. It helps us out. For all of us here at Off the Fair Poll, thanks for hanging. Thanks for listening. We'll see y'all next time. See ya.
Deuces.